Welcome back, movie lover badasses. Today on Retro Reviews, we are going to take a quick trip back to a time of carnage, where men drive metal machines of death and bring chaos across the land. And only one man stands in their way. I bring to you the Mad Max Trilogy.
In a world set in an apocalyptic future, complete social decay is on the rise, where cops do their best to lay down the law against outlaw gangs who live to terrorize the innocent. Leather-clad Max Rockatansky, husband, father, and cop, turns judge, jury, and executioner after his best friend, wife, and baby are murdered. Here we see the final days of a normal man slip into the abyss of madness, and the only thing worth fighting for is revenge. Mad Max is the perfect example of a true anti-hero.
This first film was released in 1979, starring an unknown 21-year-old Mel Gibson. This small, low-budget film from Australia really took Hollywood by storm. It kind of surprised it came out of nowhere. No one expected it to be a hit due to its small, low budget. But this movie benefited from having such a small, low budget. It forced director George Miller and his crew to take risks and be as creative as they can. For example, they use a cop car, they crash it through a van in spectacular fashion, then they pull the car back out, and then they drive the car back down the street to crash through a trailer, all in the same scene, because they only had like 3 cop cars to use. They couldn't even afford more than one leather suit. They only could afford one for the star Mel Gibson. So not only are the stunts spectacular in this film, but George Miller does a great job building up suspense throughout the movie. I mean, the tale of revenge never gets old for me. I mean, it's been used in westerns, been used in martial arts films. And in this way, this movie does feel kind of a western, like a western, except set in a post-apocalyptic future. The cars are all souped up to look badass, especially Mad Max's Black Interceptor. I mean, the cars themselves are characters of their own. And the amazing camera work. These guys, they're insane. They put cameras on the cars. They had people with handheld cameras sit in the back seats. They had the cameras filmed like a few inches off the ground to make you feel like you were right there in the action, making the driving sequences real and raw. It was amazing. I don't think anything before this filmed driving sequences this way. Mad Max is an unforgettable film that has definitely paved the way for future franchises like the Fast and the Furious series. I highly doubt without these series of films we'd have movies like that.
Mad Max gets 4 out of 5 ninja stars. War and the depletion of resources has thrown the Australian outback right into a post-apocalyptic nightmare. Mad Max, now trying to survive in a land where gas is more precious than gold, comes across a community of survivors living in a gasoline refinery. He chooses to defend them and their gasoline supplies from the evil barbarian warriors.
Mad Max 2. Everything is just bigger and better in this sequel. It's interesting to see Max just try to survive and not really showing a lot of emotion, interacting with different people. You don't really know, is this guy a good guy, is this a bad guy? You know, what is he really for the people? Is he for himself? You know, it's interesting to see that, because I mean, let's be honest, after the trauma that he experienced from the first film, can't really think that this guy just wants to be cute and cuddly with everybody, you know what I mean? But what I really like about this film is that finally, at some point, he reaches his breaking point in the film, and finally the circles turn and he finally comes back to being the old Max and decides to help those in need. And let me tell you, the action finale in this movie pretty much by itself destroys everything, destroys all the car sequences from the very first film. I mean, it is badass. It is just epic. This is definitely my personal favorite of the series. Badass.
Mad Max 2 gets 4.5 out of 5 ninja stars. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome is about Max seeking shelter in a city called Barter Town, where danger or opportunity is around every corner. He becomes involved in a power struggle, but he first must survive the town, survive the desert, and then rescue the innocent children he has discovered. This is the least favorite of mine in the Mad Max trilogy. It's not a bad movie, and it has its moments, including the amazing Thunderdome fight, which still holds up today, and the unforgettable Master Blaster character, which includes a really intelligent little person that's strapped to the back of a powerful, strong giant, fulfilling his every command. But it's the shift in tone of the film that loses a lot of points for me. Sometimes the movie feels like a Mad Max film, then it feels like The Goonies meets Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom for some strange reason. Also, throwing in a lot of slapstick comedy felt forced and out of place in this universe. I think maybe George Miller wanted to make his franchise more appealing to all audiences by adding a lot of child actors and even dropping the rating down to a PG-13. This is very, very unfortunate in this series.
Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome gets 3 out of 5 Ninja Stars. So it's a little unfortunate that this trilogy kind of ends in a kind of a sour note for me. However, I still think the first 2 films are classics, and this trilogy needs to be remembered and discussed for its influence in pop culture. So after 30 years later, can director George Miller recapture the magic from the first 2 films? Tune in soon for my next review of the upcoming and highly anticipated Mad Max Fury Road. So let me know what you think about this series. Does this particular franchise need to stay dead and stay in the 80s? Or are you glad it's getting a revival? Let me know. And if there are any other trilogies you would like for me to review in the future, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like and subscribe button. Until then, I'll see you next time, and enjoy these highlights.
Babe!
Oh, shit. Yes,
It's
hon.
3 a.m.
Sorry. Sorry, honey. It won't happen again.